Is it on? Oh, it set me up, bro.
That's a major set.
Oh my days.
Oh, how long was that thing on?
That's mad. They just turned my mic up on the thing. Wow, that's crazy. How you gonna do me like that, bro? That's crazy, fam. see, this is the kind of stuff. On the Sunday as well.
Yes, Pete.
Listen, see, this is why man can't just have you running the thing.
No warning,
like,
no
bro.
countdown, no nothing.
See me, yeah. See when man's running the free DLC, yeah. It's nice, bro. Smooth. I'm done with you. I'm done. Just know, I might have to delete your contact number from my phone. We are live.
Guys, I'm Joe. I'm further
Why
to
is
Simon.
it
It's hot, bro.
And I'm Raven your GS. Guys, welcome to Sith Temple Special Edition. You might be wondering, why, like, what's going on? Like, all of a sudden, live stream. Basically, what happened was we were shooting today in our new Sith Temple. In case you haven't noticed. So we've been doing some trailer reaction. By the way, wait. Before we even start giving you stuff, it's a madness. Firstly, if you haven't subscribed to the Cybernerd Sith Temple, open a new tab. Head over there and subscribe, please. Thank you.
It's very important, firstly.
Very important.
Because streams like this are going to be happening over on that channel very soon. But because this was like a last minute thing, we was like,
let's come here.
Let's do it on a Cybernerd's proper channel. You get me?
Give you guys a fair warning of what's going on, innit?
Star Wars content's going to be over there from now on, moving forward, innit? But yeah, shout out to everyone plugged in. Appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, man. I mean, you didn't finish breaking down the story.
I didn't finish breaking down the story. So what happened was we were sitting here doing what we usually do, you know, creating content for the fam, Star Wars stuff, you know how it goes. And we've been watching the Star Wars High Republic trailers and announcements. And then it just didn't sit well with us, innit? Like, you'll see it when you head over to our Sith Temple channel and watch the trailers when it drops, what I'm talking about. Then we was like, we need to watch this full live stream launch event. Because then that might put certain things in perspective that we're not aware of.
Man needs a better understanding of the team.
Yeah, because those two videos was mad to us.
Do you know what's mad, yeah? It's like, because you guys are just joining us now and haven't seen the trailer reactions yet, you're like, oh, what are these man talking about? But basically,
he said,
the thing is, I don't want to spoil the trailer reactions.
You don't. I wouldn't do that.
I don't want to spoil the trailer reactions.
But at least they'll go into the trailer reactions with a knowledge. Like, once they watch it, they'll be like, oh, that makes sense why. They run it back to the main channel and did the live thing.
Like, so this is basically like an emergency council meeting, basically. Let me put it like that. This is an emergency council meeting. So basically, we was in a temple watching the thing, and we was like, nah, put the thing on red alert, fam. Get the academy kids out, get them out of bed. Everyone report to the main hall. Like, we got to talk about something. But firstly, it's mad because you guys have actually, I mean, I know lots of you would have already watched the Star Wars The High Republic launch event, but we didn't watch it. Like, at the time when it came out, we was together, but like, we kind of made a decision that, we wanted to do Sith Temple content, so it's taken us a week to get around to it, and now we're here. So, trailer reactions are going to probably be coming out tomorrow on the Sith Temple channel, like Raven said, but we're going to do this live, watch along, now for you guys. Shout out to all the new members, everyone who's coming in and becoming a member on the YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys. Remember, if you want to support this show and everything we're doing regarding Star Wars, head over to patreon.com/the Cybernerds and slap up the Cybernerds, the Sith Academy tier. Get me. But yeah, brother, you ready to just dive into this thing?
A whole 50 minutes of this thing.
Now, what I want you guys to do is to jump in the chat and let us know your general thoughts about Star Wars The High Republic. Like, just from all the information you know, I want the conversation in the chat going about, like, your thoughts on it. And Sam, if you can fact check or find a release date for the book or something, can you let us know when you find that information or something like that, innit? So you guys jump in the chat and let us know. In fact, you know what? I want to wait for that information before we start.
But you might get that here.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, right. You're right. All right. Man's ready to dive in, Sam, innit? So, get me. Whenever you hit the thing, guys are going in.
Welcome, everybody. We couldn't be more thrilled to be starting the High Republic Publishing Initiative. And we've got this wonderful selection of authors here for a panel discussion. And to explain a little bit more about what this era is.
They might need some volume, bro.
We've put together this piece that gives you some idea of what the High Republic era is all about. Enjoy.
Not too loud, brother.
We are the guardians of peace and justice. Beyond the stars is a near endless frontier. Our order was meant to shine its light in even the darkest corners of the galaxy. There, we found an evil that none of us had trained for, but threatens all we know.
What was that? A Sarlacc or something? Fam?
Bruv, yeah.
It's mad to me, bro. It's mad. It's mad. It's mad.
It's, I don't know.
Guys, I was being sarcastic when I said there's that Sarlacc, man.
For the survival of the
Jedi's out.
Republic, the fate of all Jedi, for control of the Force itself.
Fam, the fate of all Jedi rests on them man beefing
bruv.
Vikings.
This is exactly why we're here, bruv. This is what you man want to do,
Like, this is you man's major conflict, bro.
bruv.
Yeah, it's mad, bro.
Hello, I'm Lucasfilm's Kristen Baver, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to the official launch of Star Wars The High Republic.
Hello.
We have some fun surprises for you today, so without further ado, I'd like to welcome the luminous authors who are responsible for kicking off this ambitious publishing initiative. We have Charles Soule, Justina Ireland, Kevin Scott, Daniel Jose Older, and Claudia Gray. Before we get to them, let's first start with Lucasfilm Publishing Creative Director, Michael Segley. Mike, this project has been a long time coming. We've been talking about it since Star Wars Celebration Chicago, but it started long before that. Can you take us back all the way to the beginning, when this was first known as Project Luminous?
Thanks, Kristen. The concept of this initiative, the idea of an original, interconnected, cross-publisher event in its own corner of the galaxy has been something that we've wanted to do for several years. But the timing had to be right. As we neared the end of the Skywalker saga, we were finally given that green light to explore this initiative, to be bold. And so we looked to current high-profile, fan-favorite authors, and that search led us to the 5 all-stars that you see before you.
So let's pass the metaphorical mic over to those all-stars right now. Set the scene for me. Once you get the call, how do you even begin to prepare for something like this? Do you do research? Do you just run around the house yelling with excitement? That's what I would do. Charles, you want to take it first?
Well, I did run. I ran to my...
Love Charles, man.
I guess my Blu-ray player, whatever you want to say, because the first place you began when you're building a new era in Star Wars is all the stuff that already exists. So I know I started by watching all the movies again, and really focusing on what I thought was impressive about Star Wars, what was meaningful about Star Wars to me, because we were, this job was to make something that was authentically Star Wars from the ground up, but also really fresh and new and special and powerful. And it had to be what all 5 of us. I didn't know who the other authors were at that time, which is kind of a funny thing. So I knew I was part of something. I didn't realize how big it was going to be or how close I would become with all the other people who were part of it, obviously. But I just started by looking at Star Wars and digging in deep and thinking about if I really had this opportunity that Mike had described to me to make kind of our own Star Wars, which is sort of...
Do you know the other writers?
Has become.
I know
what's actually happening.
Claudia Gray,
What would that
she's
mean to
done
me?
bare
And so
books.
I started with the source material and just went from there.
Claudia, what was your response?
I probably
She's
had.
done the one you read,
it's not the
Inferno
obvious
Squadron
reaction,
or
but it's
whatever.
going to
Oh, was it
sound
her?
like it is. I started asking myself, what were the things that I loved in other epic sagas, I guess, because I loved Star Wars, had loved it for years, had been writing it for some time, and felt like I was immersed in that. But what were the other things that drew me to other media, whether that's, Dune or the Arthurian legends or whatever? Like, what are the big epic qualities that pull you in, or at least pull me in? That was where I began, I think.
And then you physically got to begin at a big epic place, which is Skywalker Ranch.
We did. We were lucky enough to have not 1 but 2 publishing retreats at the ranch. And what we did is
Man needs to get to that ranch, innit?
we took the publishing team, we took James Watt and Story Group, and we all went up there. And the first session was really just like what Claudia and Charles were saying just now. It was really about what we loved about Star Wars, what we wanted to see from Star Wars, what we wanted to read, what we wanted to experience, what we loved, even beyond Star Wars, like Claudia was saying, in terms of just general fiction and media, right? And we all came back with ideas, and then we had a second session where we really got to dive into what that story could be, which is, obviously the High Republic.
What was that process like? Kevin, can you share some details?
Yeah, sure. So, as Mike said, we were all there. There was story group, there was the editors from Lucasfilm, the five of us, and we spent a few days discussing Star Wars and stories in general, and what we enjoyed, what we would like to see. And then the five of us broke out individually and came up with our own sort of answers to those questions, and came back and almost pitched, well, it was literally a pitch to the rest of the group, a setting, a story, some characters, where in the sort of general Star Wars timeline it could sit. And then we discussed that, and we pulled it apart, and we swapped some ideas around. And then when we were forced to leave Skywalker Ranch, because they did literally have to chuck us out, we all went home to our various homes, and worked up those ideas into 5 pitches, which we then sent in, and waited to hear nervously which one would be chosen, or whether we'd be taking elements from each. And we only really heard, literally, as we were setting out for the second retreat.
And
Dude's
Daniel,
out
I
here
know
just
one
on
of
a
the
treat,
elements that you suggested, because I saw it up on that big whiteboard, was dinosaurs. So you want to talk a little bit about your process as well?
Dinosaurs. I mean, what else is there to say? The funny thing is, I didn't actually suggest that. I think someone else did, because I kept bringing up dinosaurs and they did it on my behalf, which I appreciate. But we all know there's always been dinosaurs in Star Wars from, the beginning. But it was really such a fun way to just throw lots of things in the pot and stir it up. I have to say, having been through a lot of different creative processes and collaborations, this one really stands out in that it felt really supportive, and people were just really having a good time. We had snacks, we had coffee, we had tea, we just had fun. And to Cav's point, I guess we were pitching, and we were genuinely standing up there and giving presentations, but it never felt like, all right, what are they gonna do? And I gotta do it better than this person or that person. It was never that. Like, everyone's ideas were amazing, and we all got really excited about all of them in different ways. And Story Group and all the folks at Lucasfilm were super cool. And we ended up just having a really good time and talking about story and Star Wars.
I mean, that was the beauty of it, right? Like, everyone had a seat at the table, everyone had a voice, and it was genuinely collaborative, which was fantastic. And there are pieces of everyone's pitches in the end result, which is super exciting. But this is going to sound corny, I know, but being up there at Skywalker and being able to pitch story and talk story, it really was magical. There was something that really just lit this spark in everyone, and it was, call it the power of Star Wars, the power of the Force, whatever. But it was pretty amazing. It was really amazing.
The ranch is such a magical place. It has so much history, and it's also just a beautiful property. Now, with the High Republic, we're entering a whole new era of Star Wars storytelling, 2 centuries before anything we've seen in the films. Can you give us a little bit of an introduction, maybe kind of a crash course, if you will, into what's so different about this time period?
Yeah, I mean, when we open up on this, we're centuries before F1, and it is a time of peace. And it is the Jedi Knights at their height. It is a golden age of the Jedi that we've seen hinted about, but we've never seen in current fiction, right? When we were up at the ranch, there were 2 things that really drove us once we hit upon the High Republic. The first one was a quote from Obi-Wan Kenobi where he says, "For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic." And again, we've never seen that in current fiction. What does that look like? And then while we were kicking around those ideas, it was Cav who asked the question, what scares the Jedi? And we thought, ooh, that's an interesting question. What
Pirates.
scares the Jedi? And we put both of those together and run with it, and that became the basis for the High Republic. On top of that, there is the newness of it all, which I think is really exciting. We're in an era where anything can happen.
That's actually pretty
And we've never really been
deep
in that
concept.
spot before,
Because if that's what they
since
run with,
those original films.
what scares them?
And I think that's what makes this so exciting.
And you just go with that.
Cav, do you want to add anything to that?
Oh, like
Yeah,
what?
as Mike
Bro,
said,
Like
what's
fear.
I hear that, bro, but where you're taking it's not where they're taking it, bro.
pretty much
You know what I'm
done their
saying?
job exceptionally
What would
well
scare the
over
Jedi, fam?
hundreds
An
and
army of
hundreds
Sith,
years.
bro.
And so
That's what should be coming from, man,
Jedi
bro.
entered a period of
There's nothing more scarier than that, fam.
I don't know, bro.
and that's changed the way
The
the
thing they
Jedi
beat
view
coming
themselves,
back.
view the Force,
Or them lot
sometimes
turning
even
bad, bro. Do you know that, fam?
the laws of the Jedi as well.
Space pirates.
Bruv.
It's changed the
That's
way
gonna
the
scare,
Jedi
man,
are.
innit?
They're not hidden away in temples, and there's not just one temple on Coruscant. There are outposts and temples on every major planet in the Republic. And the Jedi are out with the people. They are a part of life. People are used to seeing them, and the people love them. And that gives a special responsibility to these Jedi to perhaps be a little more flexible in how they work, but also, above all, to be the beacon of light they need to be.
These men are feds, bro.
No!
That's all I'm hearing, fam.
Talk a little bit about
But that's what I said earlier on the trailer, bruv.
It's dead, bro.
So
They're marshals, bruv.
Yeah, fam,
Sheriffs.
but it's like,
really important part of the High Republic.
with the little starting, bruv.
ooh, bruv,
People
that.
and stuff in it that is not just these amazing space wizards we all love so much. There's a whole republic. There's the High Republic is a galactic government that is run by a very enlightened chancellor named Chancellor Lena So, and she has generated sort of a motto for the galaxy that has been by and large bought into, which is "We are all the Republic," which is a phrase that I think is meaningful because it means that despite all of our differences, and in Star Wars, people are very, very different. They're from not just, different as, personality-wise, but literally they're different species. They come from different worlds, completely different cultural backgrounds. But if they can all sort of rally behind the idea that we are all the Republic, many, many things can happen. Compromise can happen in a way that is refreshing. Divisions don't seem quite as divisive. It's a beautiful idea, and that is one of the organizing principles of the High Republic. And so the analogs that I know that I used as touchstones, and I think we all sort of drew from in different ways, were the ideas of Camelot, two Camelots. One is Arthurian Camelot, which King Arthur and the knights and going on quests and sort of this time of pomp and chivalry and codes and all of that, but with an eye towards sort of great drama and optimism. And then the other is the early 1960s in America, also called Camelot, the other Camelot, when the Kennedys were in the White House. And it was, generally speaking, not for everybody, obviously, but for many people, it was seen as a time of optimism and expansion for America. The moon program began, Apollo began. By the end of the decade, we'll be on the moon.
Colonization we're talking about.
Brother.
Many things
Man
are
said,
possible.
Brother.
Man said expansion.
Brother.
Come on, no, bro, are you mad? Oh, is this it?
Which are huge galactic programs that are designed to kind of bring things forward and do cool things.
Bruv, how they got this brother saying this
It's
on
kind of a tonal
on the
shift
thing,
from
fam?
anything we've really seen before in Star Wars. There's no galactic civil war. There's no shadow of the Sith.
It's
all over everything.
Charles
Everybody's
Soule,
like,
fam.
okay, let's do some cool stuff.
He said there's no shadow of the Sith Empire. Did you hear what he just said, yeah?
But there's still strife in the galaxy. Charles, your book, Light of the Jedi, is going to usher us into this era, and it starts with
The
something
Light of the
called
Jedi is the book.
The Great Disaster. What can you tell us about this ominous-sounding event?
Well, it is a disaster. It is great in terms of its scope and scale. I do not know that the people involved in it would call it great. They would probably have a different name for it. But basically, there's a problem with hyperspace. Something really, really bad happens, and it begins to involve a very large swath of the Outer Rim. And the Light of the Jedi begins with that disaster, and the response of the Republic and the Jedi to it allows us to meet a very sort of broad group of new characters, which is really fun because you're introducing, many, many, many new ideas, new characters, new people that hopefully the readers are going to really fall in love with quickly. And so the idea was to give all of those characters a crisis to respond to because nothing exposes character more than responding to a crisis. And so it is huge. The Great Disaster takes up the whole first third of Light of the Jedi. It's a massive storytelling thing, but it's not just in Light of the Jedi, because one of the ideas that we wanted to do was to suggest that there are certain events throughout the entire High Republic story that we're telling that are being hit at different times by all of the storytelling. So Daniel's book, Justina's book, Claudia, Cavs, all of the stuff we're doing, they hit these events in much the same way that the Death Star's explosion rippled through many, many stories throughout Star Wars that we've seen. The Great Disaster is similar, and there will be lots of other cool events like that to come.
And that's a beautiful segue because
See,
since all
they're
the
doing the
books in
novels
the
like comic
initiative are
books,
linked
bro.
together, Justina, do you want to talk a little bit about how some of those events impact your book, A Test of Courage?
Well, there's a disaster and it's not great. No, actually, A Test of Courage follows 16-year-old Jedi Vernestra Rowe, and as she's kind of going on her first mission as a Jedi, she's been a Jedi Knight for a little bit, but she's still kind of not fully embraced where she is in her current life. And so she's sent on this sort of diplomatic mission because similar to what Charles pointed out, at this point, the Republic is expanding. And so there are member planets coming into the Republic all the time. And so part of Vernestra's Row's mission is to go on this diplomatic mission to try to kind of convince this frontier planet to join the Republic because they have some resources, of course, that would be beneficial. And they're all going on to see the sort of
Propaganda, the
transmission
highest.
for the Starlight Beacon, which is this massive beacon in space. Because if you know anything about transmissions in space, sometimes things don't go as far as they need to because you need those signal boosters and such. And on their way to go there, of course, things go horribly wrong. So now Vern, as she's called by one of her charges, and a bunch of other kids have to survive and try to figure out what exactly happened to their ship. Spoiler: it blows up. But I guess that's not really a big spoiler because it's kind of happens in the first act. So yeah, so it's really a way for younger readers to sort of have their High Republic moment, to have those adventures that we'll see in the other media. But it's also a way for if you're an adult reader who wants a quicker read, a kid's book is great because it's just as engaging. There's just as much Jedi hot lightsaber action as any of the other places. But it's
Don't look
it's a
at me,
smaller
fam.
book, it's a
Don't
shorter
look
book,
at
and
me.
It's really fun. It's a lot of fun. So yeah.
And there's a lot more
He's not being
characters getting
serious.
eaten
Brother.
because you have to get rid of them versus
I
the blood
love
and
it when
gore.
a character gets eaten. It's
I know.
Kristen, you and I have spoken about this before. I
No,
love.
I love that. That's always your solution. You're like, we gotta get rid of this guy.
You're like,
Let
he's
them
gonna get eaten. In this case, we have a big explosion in the beginning, so we get to get rid of a lot of people that way. But it's all sort of off screen, so if you're worried about your younger kids, it's still pretty fun.
Yeah.
Really kid friendly.
Yeah, and we're also getting a Marvel Comics series in the mix. Kevin, do you want to talk a little bit about your endeavors there?
Sure, yeah. So the High Republic comic from Marvel, the ongoing series, sort of carries on from the end of Light of the Jedi, and it follows Ava Chris from the events of that book to her new posting, which is as Marshal of Starlight Beacon, which Justina mentioned. Now, Starlight Beacon is this immense station that is not just a Republic base,
Police station.
it's also a Jedi temple as well, and it's run by sort of the Jedi Order and the Republic together. And so Ava is in charge of the Jedi side of things, but she's not the actual
commissioner.
main focus of the book. We follow the story of Keith Trennis, who, like Vernestra, is a Jedi who's just on the cusp. We literally see her in issue 1 be knighted as a Jedi Knight. And it's how she suddenly finds herself at the center of the galaxy, or so it seems to her, on this massive station where there is so much going on. And that suddenly she's standing shoulder to shoulder with Jedi of all different responsibilities, of different experiences. She's got her former master skier. There's Abar Chris, who's just been a major part of this recovery operation after the great discovery, is a bit of a hero to her. She's got this pair of the Bond twins, Terek and Serek, who literally share one mind between them. And then one of my favorite characters is Starling Maru, who is a Kasurian, who is the master of multitasking, who literally makes sure that the station keeps ticking. And in the middle of this, she's got to work out what kind of Jedi she's going to be. And she doesn't always get it right. And so it's probably the nearest we've had to a team book when we come to think about Jedi. And everything comes through her point of view and her gaze as they, stretch out from the station, from the beacon, and start to explore the area of space they find themselves in.
Claudia, your book Into the Dark sounds at first blush kind of like the counterpoint to Light of the Jedi. As I understand it, we'll be seeing the Jedi, but you're also introducing some galactic pilots. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The book overall follows some Jedi who are traveling to Starlight, but the great disaster occurs, and they are marooned on this ancient abandoned space station that at first looks like a perfect harbor from all the chaos that's going on, but turns out to have many, many secrets of its own. So they're having this adventure away from everything else that is happening and don't know some of the bigger events that are unfolding. But as it turns out, some of the things that they're going to discover on this station will have repercussions for a very long time to come. And these Jedi are traveling in a private ship, which is where we meet Leox, Geode, and Affy. They are the crew of the vessel that takes them there. And I didn't want to do somebody that was going to be just like Han Solo, and I definitely didn't want to do Diet Han Solo. You know, he's kind of a rogue, but he's less interesting. You know,
Less rogue. What?
No, less filling. Yeah. So I was like, okay, what is a template for a pilot who has some of this scoundrel energy but isn't Han Solo at all? And somehow my brain was like, you need to give 1990s Matthew McConaughey a spaceship and see what
that looks like Han Solo and Poe Dameron mixed
that
together.
unfolds, as you might think, in ways that are glorious and maybe a little bit less so. Affy is much younger. She's the daughter of the owner of the shipping guild, who is learning the business by being the co-pilot.
Why is that the only thing they can do, bro?
Navigator Geode is
These men were at the ranch, bro. This is what they came out with.
And I think
At the ranch, bro. They were breathing the air at the brunch.
layer by layer.
I'm good.
All I have to say that is all right, all right, all right. Now, Daniel, as the writer of the IDW All Ages comics, Master Yoda is front and center in your storytelling. What can you tell us about him and his crew?
Oh, not this guy again, bruv.
Yoda has a crew.
Yoda has a crew. Finally.
Still looks the same.
Look, Yoda's always been about the kids and, bringing up the next generation of Jedi, and that's exactly what we see him doing. But in this scenario, he's not tethered to the temple. He's not in Coruscant. They are out in the world, very much so. They're traveling around on an academic cruiser called the Starhopper, and it's a group of young Padawans who are, it's almost like a gap year. Like they're out there having adventures, and everything goes.
Did you say these men took a gap year?
And there's, bad guys and epic fights and everything else. But at the core of the story, it is about Yoda and Lula Talisola, who's the young Padawan that is really front and center in this story.
This
along
is
with him,
peak.
and some of the folks that they meet along the way, and all of the learning that they do that's not in textbooks, but the more difficult real world learning that's involved with being in the world.
I love that. So it's like Space Rumspringer. And this is one of my favorite questions because I really have no idea, and I am so curious to hear your answer. Just who is Buckets of Blood?
First of all, you have to say it in all caps. Buckets of blood!
Buckets of Blood!
He's
Who
like
is that?
one of my favorite new Jedi. He's along for the ride with the Padawans.
Look at me,
now.
fam.
But basically, what he comes from is when I was a paramedic, there was always these legends in the field about a guy named Buckets of Blood, who referred to himself in the third person that way on the actual EMS radio, which I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do anymore, and probably weren't then either. But when a job would come over, he would get on the radio and be like, "Buckets of Blood is on the way." And it was like so cool, partially because he's a healer, right? Like paramedics are healers. So it's this name that's literally soaked in gore, but he's really describing what he's, as he says, he's like, I'm supposed to put the blood back in the body, not take the blood out, because he's not a fighter, he's a healer. And so that's Buckets of Blood. He's Chagrian, he's huge, he's intimidating, but he's very, very kind and gentle, actually. And I'm excited for everyone to see what he gets to do in this world, because there's a lot of fun to be had.
Buckets of blood!
Back into the body.
Oh, the loud.
And I'm going to take Buckets of Blood out right from the top, but I know it's really hard to choose, but do you each have a favorite character besides Buckets of Blood?
As I run through the characters, and there's tons, right? Which is one of the really fun things about this, is that all of these characters are new. I mean, and there are some connections to characters you might have seen in other storytelling, but by and large, every single one of these people is new. Yoda, whatever. But and we all put a lot of ourselves into these characters and made them all really cool. So it's hard to choose one. But if I were to choose one right now, after having just flipped through the books that I wrote, the stories we're telling, all that stuff, I think it might be the bad guy. I think Markian Rowe is very, very cool. He's very different than any of the other types of bad guys we've seen in Star Wars before. Starts off in a place we haven't really seen a bad guy start off in a Star Wars story before, and the choices he makes and the choices he's going to make that you guys don't even, you have no idea where it's going to go. It's very exciting. So I think, building a new bad guy who's supposed to stand toe-to-toe, ideally, with some of the amazing villains we've seen in Star Wars in the past.
I wish we could
really
pause
invigorating challenge.
Because
I mean, you can pause it.
Right.
I'm excited
You
to
can
see what
pause
you
it.
think.
Go on, pause the thing. Pause
Just-
the thing. Pause the thing. Do you know what the issue here is? Yeah, the biggest issue here, and this was the biggest issue through Star Wars, bro. You have to focus on the other side, bro. You have to focus on the other side.
But you know what's
you can't just do this, bro.
What's new to me now is that usually that's what they do in the movies,
What?
focusing on just on one side,
Yeah.
and the books
Usually
it gives the other
yeah,
side.
bro.
And what's also so surprising to me is that my favorite Star Wars books are actually written by Charles Soule. So how and obviously that it kind of makes sense why he's the ones doing the villain, but at the same time it's like how? Like you've written all these sick, amazing books, and now we're here talking about expansions and
But the thing is, I'm not putting that down to him. innit?
no, obviously
he's one of their best writers.
Yeah, so he's
and
just
they're
coming
like,
into
okay,
the,
yeah, look,
he's just coming to the project,
Exactly,
and he's got
fam.
to do the best he can.
yeah, bruv. And they're
But-
they're telling him what he's got to do, fam. But like, yo, for you, man, at Star Wars, bruv, like, focus on the other side. And this ain't coming from man as a Sith Lord, boom, 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 boom. It's more interesting when you have both sides. And like, there's gonna be people like you, man, are talking about expansion, colonization, reaping resources from planets. I hear that. Focus on some of the characters on the planets who see these man as oppressors and stuff like, bro, that's a whole nother market you man can tap into. It's a whole nother story that you man can tell, bro. Not every day, Jedi's here, we're here to save the day, bro. Like it's mad, bro. Like how you man keep getting this thing wrong. Like we already spent 30 years or however long, 60 years, bro, with Star Wars, yeah? Where it's like, oh, the Jedi. But in the first movie, you man are talking about, oh, it's from a certain perspective. Like, for George Lucas to put that in a movie, yeah, the first movie does, oh, we're the good guys from a certain perspective, or this is this from a certain perspective. As this thing evolves, you man should be telling this story from all sides and then molding that from a certain perspective, bro. You don't have to tell us who the good guys and the bad guys are, bro.
That's up to us,
bro.
to
Just
lean
tell
on
the
to.
stories.
It'll be interesting to see how George Lucas feels about this.
But I don't know, bro. Because sometimes, cause
it'll be-
the thing is, yeah, bruv, like Almighty George, bruv, and you know what I'm saying. But it's like he might not even like. I know he gets it, but he might not be able to tell that. And this is what like when you have something that evolves, you have to, you know what I'm saying. You have to let it go.
grow,
You gotta let it grow and let it. You know what I'm saying. And it's like I feel like it was mad that they like kind of push George out the way he did, because I feel like even if you buy the thing, he always needs to be involved. I'm not saying following everything man does,
Yeah, you can
but
still
always
be
tap
part
into
of
man's
that.
mind. Do you get what I'm saying? But for stuff like this, you got to tap into the other side of it, fam. You get me? The planets that the Jedi are coming, like, bruv, if they said that they're sending a young Jedi to a planet to convince them to come
join
over,
the
to join the
team.
Republic.
He has no experience, no nothing.
Nah.
I mean,
Why does the place need convincing if you are the good guys?
and this
You'd
is
make that decision on your own.
and this is supposed to be the highest time of the Jedi,
The highest, bruv.
where they're rolling with people on the streets, and people are used to seeing Jedi's. What's said
And
here.
loving them, man, bruv. Nah, bro, it doesn't
I
add
don't
up,
know,
bruv. It
I
don't add up for me. It just don't add up for me. It's
I
crazy,
don't
fam.
know.
And like, and it's interesting. I feel like Charles Soule is a smart guy, innit? And he probably is hearing all of this Jedi propaganda and knows that he's good at writing the other side, and he has good books where he's, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember who wrote Alliance with Thrawn and Anakin and and Thrawn and Vader.
I think it's him.
I think it might be him, fam.
Fact check that for us, please.
Yeah, bruv. Star Wars Alliance. And it's like, if it is him, it makes sense, bruv, because he's writing a book where you've got, we'll say, a good guy, Anakin, working with a bad guy, Thrawn, but at the time, Thrawn's a good guy. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then,
Because he got captured by the man.
then you've got him writing, at the same time, perpendicular, like parallel, Vader, bad guy, against Thrawn and Thrawn, bad guy.
It's like Thrawn has been on both sides.
They've both been on both sides, because obviously Anakin was a good guy at the time, do you know what I'm saying? Timothy Zahn, yeah. Do you know what, yeah? I should have known it was Timothy Zahn, because Timothy Zahn wrote the original Thrawn trilogy of books. And then he did that, and he did the other one as well.
Check which ones Charles Soule has done.
But yeah, bruv, it's mad to me, because I just feel like that's the angle that these men are missing. Or maybe we should stop telling you, man.
Anyway, if we down, the man's gonna be stuck with these things, bro. This is supposed to be the new books that's supposed to come out, brother.
I'm just saying that, bruv. Maybe that's where we're supposed to come in and get me. Let's just see what a couple Star Wars books that Charles Soule's.
Which has he done? Rise of Kylo Ren.
The Rise of Kylo Ren, yeah, he did the comic book, Dead. And that's it.
No, he's got more, bruv.
I'm pretty sure
he's
done
got
one
more,
of the
bruv.
novels,
I've written. That's what I'm saying, bruv.
They're all the books. Come back to us when you go. Anyway, but yeah, man. Look, unpause this. Let's keep going, man. We're about halfway through, fam.
Stina, how about you?
I'm sorry, Charles is Yoda, whatever. My 12-year-old self is so scared.
I know.
I think, like Charles said, there's so many new characters, it's really hard to pick a favorite character. Because honestly, my favorite character tends to be whoever I'm writing about at that moment. So I'm going to take a reserve for this because there are characters that are not yet been introduced that are right now my favorite characters. So the character you don't know, that's my favorite character.
Cav, how about you?
Follow that. It's really hard, especially when you're writing a book that has a team working together. I'd love Skier the Trandoshan. It's been so wonderful to see people being drawn to him, you know, even from just the concept art. He's great. He's complicated. He has issues, as we'll understand, and he does carry the secret. But what I love about it is his relationship with Keith, because it's a very different kind of relationship to sort of the master and apprentice relationship we've seen before. It's far more paternal, I think, while also being like a best friend. It's been really interesting and fascinating to explore, both in their current state, but also we flash back and we see Keith when she is younger with Skier as well, and yeah, so he's very special to me.
Claudia, can you choose a favorite?
That would require me to choose between Leox and Geode, and I refuse. It's like that scene in Captain America, Winter Soldier, where he's hanging onto the helicopter and the building simultaneously. Like, I am hanging on that tight to both of them, and I will not let go.
I love it. All right, and Daniel, I feel like maybe I was too harsh saying you couldn't pick Buckets of Blood at the beginning, so
You know
go
what?
ahead.
Besides Buckets of Blood.
You can pick Buckets of Blood. I'll let you.
No, it's all right. Lula Talisola is like someone as a character I've just really come to find amazing in so many different ways. Sort of watching her, you know, when you create characters, some just show up and they're like exactly all the things they are, like Buckets of Blood, and some kind of grow as you write them. And writing Lula and understanding who she is, her struggles with the Force, and really wanting to like be the best, but also wanting to be a team player like a Jedi are supposed to, and seeing how she functions as a friend and as a leader to her squad is so cool. And then Harvey Tolibau's art, that guy is a genius. Like, he's so incredible, and the way that he has brought all of these characters, but especially Lula, to life and just given them this incredible elegance and artistry, it like has taken it to the next level. And I've learned things about her through his art that I didn't realize as the creator of that character. So it's really, really amazing to see that, and just to know that like there's this whole arc ahead of her in the world and the stories that we're telling. and all these cool things set to happen, and her own, journey with the Force. And I'm just really excited for people to see it.
Also, I want to take a moment to talk about the villains because they need some love too. Justina, do you want to kick us off with
Spend 40
maybe
minutes
some
talking
information about the Nile?
I mean, no story is complete without a villain. And what's more awesome than pirates? And not like nice pirates, right? I think we're all kind of past the point of like Pirates of the Caribbean. These are space pirates, and they're not nice. One of the things that's really great when you have a villain is, for me, the difference between villains and heroes has always been that limit. That heroes have a limit, they have a line they will not cross, whereas villains, all bets are off. And I think the Nile are the epitome of that all bets are off kind of villainy. They don't care about anything, and I don't want to spoil it because I almost did just then, and I can feel Charles sending me vibes. No spoilers. But they really have no limits, and I think when fans realize that they're not just out here like looting, pillaging, killing, they're even worse than that. I think they're gonna realize that this is an all new Star Wars. We're also being very familiar. But one of the things I do think is really cool about the Nile is that if you think that they might do something bad, you have to make that even worse, and that's the level at which the Nile exists. It's not.
What do
it's
these
not,
men remind you of? That's in no, that's in
Vikings, but they're really worse than the Vikings. So the Vikings
Solo
had a
movie.
honor, they had a system.
Oh,
they
yeah, okay,
adhered
yeah,
to
I
and
know
they
what
believed
you're
in,
talking about.
and the Nile.
Yeah.
And Claudia, I understand your book also introduces a different kind of villain for us.
Yes,
That
you
might be
have
them
reindeer,
100 years later, fam. You know what I'm saying?
show up, and they are
Poison ivy.
mobile plants. And if that does not sound scary at first blush, I have to tell you, I don't even think it's been a month since Hurricane. There were so many hurricanes this year. Was it Zeta came through New Orleans?
Zeta, that was the one.
Zeta, yeah. And it came through and took out several of our banana trees. They had to be chopped down with the machete. They're gone. They've already grown back more than a foot. They had started by the next day. It's like, oh, wait. And you start to realize this makes these villains very hard to kill. And if you don't think plants have weapons, I mean, where do you think poisons come from? Thorns. They have an incredible capacity to heal, and they also
have botanical
do not
issues.
share any kind of common feeling or way of thinking. Really
I'm
with,
done.
I'm gonna say animals.
I'm done, bro.
Everybody
I'm done.
Nah, stop, bro.
Nah, bro, he's dead, bro. It's not me,
Stop,
bro.
bro.
He's dead, bro.
Common ground there, and there is just
The
no
tornado
knowing
came.
about
I had to chop down the
destruction
tree.
that they might cause.
And they eat people.
Yeah, like the Venus flytrap.
It's like, wait a minute.
Making them sound a lot scarier.
Also, they will eat you.
And Cav, I think you're also working with our new species of villain.
Yeah, we develop them more in the Marvel series as well. And as Claudia said, they are unstoppable. And once, one seed, that's all you need. And then the Drengir are there, and you can't get rid of them. And they're intelligent as well. These aren't just mindless monsters. There is a very deep intelligence there that's linked. They have this weird telepathic root system they use for the dark side of the Force. Oh, because they're also dark side. And so even though you may only have one Drengir, you're actually facing all of them. So yeah, they are a force to be reckoned with. And they have a particular link to one of our Jedi. Obviously, I'm not going to say which one because Charles will get upset at more spoilers.
Yeah, watch out. You guys got to watch out. Fear
I'm
my
just
wrath.
imagining the marketing possibilities behind like Drengir in a box. One seed is all you need.
Right.
Like chia pets. There should definitely be chia pet Drengirs.
But also the color.
There's your dark side users, bro.
Yeah, bro.
The hive mind plant,
The
bro.
spices,
But the trouble with
Little
that
shop
is
of
that they're
horrors
not
thing.
the food.
Get
We are.
This is why I don't like salad.
Salad doesn't
Obviously,
like
they,
food.
you might even have the start of the
It
Sith
will eat
right there,
you.
fam.
Bro.
The one Jedi they've got the connection to, he will turn bad.
Now, I'm sure
Ivy
many of our
plants.
friends watching today haven't
Stinging,
started
bro.
down the
He's
path of the High
infected by the
Republic
dark
just
side.
yet. So what would you tell readers to expect going in?
I could take this one. I mean, I think, you know, again, it's going to sound corny, but expect the unexpected, right? Like these are stories that are both
Sounds
very
corny
personal
'cause it's corny,
and very
bro.
big and epic. They're, you know, classic stories of good versus evil. They're stories of great heroism, of overcoming fear, and ultimately, because it's Star Wars, they're stories of hope.
I also think readers have to know that we are all really pretty much describing these books terribly, because we have been with them for so long. Like it's been like a lifetime of like sitting with these stories and keeping them to ourselves. So I think a lot of the things that readers are gonna like really be excited about, we're probably not talking about it, which is even more reason for them to pick up the books themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to follow on from what Justina said, the thing that's so exciting to me about these stories, and somebody who had a chance to read some of the advanced preview chapters that were posted on StarWars.com before Light of the Jedi's release, was saying it is so fun to literally have no idea what's going to happen next, because it's hundreds of years before. And sure, Yoda's in it, whatever. So he's not gonna die. But like anything else can happen, and everything does. And all five of us, as well as Mike and Story Group and the editors and everybody involved in telling these stories, took that as sort of our guiding light. Like let's make the most of the opportunity to tell brand new Star Wars stories. And so if you're jumping in, you don't know how this ends. You don't know. That Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Not that, I mean, those stories are brilliant. We all love them. That we all use to create this stuff. But like, it's a beautiful thing when you're in the middle of a bunch of Star Wars stories and you really have no idea where it's going to go. And we leaned into that hard, and it's going to stay that way throughout the whole initiative, which is massive.
I also think along with that, it's that, and it's that if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, you'll read these and there's so many things that you can chew on and, cool, that moment. But if you have never read anything or seen anything Star Wars, you can also jump in and just say, these are amazing stories about magic and hope and, blaster fights and all these other things that are so cool. So it's a great jumping in place, and also it's a great continuation.
Absolutely.
And Yoda, whatever.
And Yoda.
Yoda, whatever.
And not nice pirates.
Charles, it says, and Yoda, whatever.
I love that Justina was like pirates, and not the nice pirates.
Now
I want to do nice pirates, a Star Wars.
Pirates of the Caribbean or the Caribbean have really ruined it all for us.
Star Wars, nice pirates.
Next time you go to the ranch for the third retreat and you're watching Return of the Jedi, I want you all to have T-shirts that have a quote from this panel, like Yoda, whatever.
Nice pirates.
Not the nice pirates.
Not the nice pirates.
Speaking of kind of jumping into the middle of this initiative, as we are getting a couple of books, a couple of comics, right at the beginning of the year here, Mike, I wanted to put this question to you because I'm sure people are going to be wondering, is there a specific reading order that people should be tackling if they want to, experience this, from beginning to end?
There is and there isn't. That's sort of the beauty of it, right? Like, if you want to experience the whole thing, then reading them in release order is probably best. But if you're only reading one format, right? If someone says, "Oh, I only want to read the Del Rey novels," you're still getting a complete story there, and that's the beauty of it, right? But if you're sharing this with your kids, let's say, or the flip side, your kids are sharing it with you, then you get the bigger picture. You get the most complete story. So I guess the short answer is you have to read all of them.
There's no wrong way.
There is no wrong way. Read them all and enjoy.
I know we're here today because we're launching these new books tomorrow, and I'm so excited to finally get to read these.
So they're all out?
But like,
I guess so.
is kind of always
Two
on
of them
the
out.
future. Charles, can you give us
Which
some
ones?
hints about what's coming next?
As far as what's coming next for the High Republic, I know that
our solo
this
one,
is
yeah?
coming out a day before Light of the Jedi and the Test of Courage come out. I think 2 days before the Marvel series begins, and shortly thereafter we get the IDW series and
Which one is this one?
Claudia's
this one?
Amazing Into the Dark. So the
Christina.
first wave of
That's the kids one.
literally right around.
Obviously,
the
they gotta
corner
start
like
with the kids one.
it's-
You gotta get the new
after
gens
so
in
much
it.
time putting these things together, it's amazing to think that they're actually almost
Copy
out.
Charles Soule.
But there's also
Yeah,
some
yeah,
other
yeah.
cool
When
things
it's
coming
still-
out that just continue the storytelling as we go forward. One of which I think
After
is
the
already
audiobook,
out
though.
now, which is the first installment of the new short serialized fiction in Star Wars Insider, and that used to be a big thing in that magazine. The Star Wars Insider is obviously the Star Wars fan magazine. It's run for a long, long time, and they used to run a lot of serialized fiction, and they stopped for a while, but it's coming back with the High Republic, which is great. So I wrote the first installment, which is called Go Together. It features two of the non-Jedi characters from Light of the Jedi, Joss and Pika Adren, having a little adventure. And it serves almost as a chapter 0 to Light of the Jedi. And then I will be writing another installment featuring those characters, which will almost be like a, Light of the Jedi +1, like a little epilogue to the epilogue of Light of the Jedi, which will come out, I believe, in the next issue of Star Wars Insider. And then thereafter, we move into just a pretty regular series of High Republic serialized fiction, which is really exciting. And that's just the tip of the iceberg about, all of the ways we're going to approach telling Star Wars stories in the High Republic in every possible way we can. It's really cool.
Justina and Cav, I think you also have some insider news.
Oh, we do.
Ooh. You want to say what it is?
Oh, I was doing a drum roll, Cav.
You ruined it.
Americans love pop-up surfing stamps. Don't you know that? Yeah, so Cav and I will be writing the stories of Starlight, which will be in the Insider fiction. It's going to be, I think it's monthly serialized fiction. Cav is doing the next story right after Charles's story, and then I'll have the story. So you'll have, it'll be a way for readers to kind of get that feeling of being on Starlight with Starlight's denizens. Cav, do you want to pick it up from there?
Yeah, I think so. In the first story that I write, First Duty, we see, actually, so throughout a lot of the storytelling, as you can probably gather, we're dealing with the Jedi, but this is our way of seeing what it's like to be the people who are working alongside the Jedi. And so we see a new character called Belko, who arrives on the station. She is the first aide to the sort of the Republic head of the station. And she arrives in, like all good Star Wars characters, with history that will obviously catch up with her. She's a brand new species to Star Wars. And it's how then she has to cope with the fact that she not only has to do this new job on this amazing, huge station, but she has to deal with these space wizards who do things in a very different way. She's never really experienced them before. And she'll be sort of our eyes and ears to this entire world. And we will go through the various different departments, if you like, on the station, on the beacon. And some of the normal people who live there and work there, and what it'd be like to actually work and live within Star Wars. It's very exciting.
You both have new books coming out this summer too, I think, right?
Yes. So I have The Rising Storm, which is the second Del Rey novel in the series. Things have moved on a bit. Ava Chris is busy off in the Marvel comics, so we focus in this novel on Stellan Geos.
It's more for you.
Another
Star Wars
Jedi we've been
comic
teasing
books.
for a while now.
So you usually say Star Wars, isn't it?
And
do you mean?
it takes
They're
place
Marvel
at
books,
the
then.
next part.
Does
of
it usually
the
say Marvel
great
at the top?
works that we
Yeah,
talked
somewhere.
about before, Chancellor So's great work.
I've never
The
paid
Republic
attention.
Fair, which is, I think, that the World Fair for the Republic. It's right out there on the frontier. It's showing all the great things that happen in the Republic. It's a chance to see the excitement, the new technology that are available, and this is Star Wars, so things happen. And one of the things that happen is we introduce a new character called Ty Yorick, who is a slightly murky character. We're describing her as a saber for hire. She's a monster hunter. She's going to appear in more than just the novel, though, as well. She appears in Daniel's middle grade novel that's coming up. And also, we've been working on a brand new original graphic novel that I'm writing. I'm working with an amazing artist I've worked with before called Rachel Stott.
What is it with
that
these
delves
men
a
and
little bit
monsters,
more
bro?
into Ty's
With
life,
this thing.
away from the events of the Rising Storm. It takes place slightly before the novel, and explores where she came from and really how she views the universe and how she views the Jedi as well.
Justina, what about you?
Yeah, so my next book will be a young adult book, which if you know me from before Star Wars, that's kind of where that's my wheelhouse, that's my jams. And the title is Out of the Shadows, kind of a play off of Into the Dark, Claudia's book. And it follows Vernestra Rowe. So, we're seeing characters transfer media formats, as you'll see throughout the initiative, which is really probably the most exciting part of it. And then also Yoda, whatever.
Yeah, Yoda,
And
whatever.
then- yeah, and then so you'll follow Vanessa Rowe and a bunch of other characters who you haven't met yet. So it's all secrets. So it's called Out of the Shadows, and it's a YA, and it'll be out sometime this summer. And then I'm also working on a manga with a Japanese writer through Viz. It's going to follow sort of the Jedi outpost Cav mentioned earlier, talking about we see the Jedi out and among the people, and sort of in a way we haven't seen the Jedi before. And one of these ways we're going to see them is these outposts that are on these these frontier planets, these smaller planets that don't necessarily have a strong Republic presence of their own. So the Jedi are kind of there to help. And so the mangas are going to follow that. And so I'm working with an author, and so that's going to be really cool because the Japanese author is writing the script, so it's going to be authentically Star Wars, but also authentically manga. So I think that's probably something pretty new for a lot of Star
That sounds
Wars
gangster.
fans, is to see instead of the mangas, we've had some of the mangas. I think Lost Stars was turned
I have
into a
to
manga,
tap into that
and
one
Leia,
still.
Prince of Alderaan, but this is going to be an original, so there's not going to be a prose book to go with this, as we've seen in the past. So that's pretty exciting.
Daniel, what are you working on?
I have a middle grade coming out. I'm so excited about it. It takes place at the same time as the Rising Storm, Cavs Del Rey novel, and it focuses on two different Padawans, actually. One Padawan, Ram Jomaram, who lives on the planet that the Republic Fair is happening on, and it's, like we've been talking about, one of these kind of out-of-the-way remote planets that a lot of people don't go to, and it's his first time really getting a glimpse of the larger galaxy, and it's all coming to his doorstep, including all of the trouble that would bring with it. He's also a really cool character because he's very mechanically minded. He actually really doesn't like all the stuff, all the pomp and circumstance type stuff that goes along with being a Jedi. He just wants to hide in his
Space
garage
One
and
racing
repair things.
Resistance.
And
Looks
he
like this.
sort of uses the Force to do that. Not that he has a special Force power, but he thinks mechanically. So his powers are inclined in that direction. He also has a team with him that are creatures called Bombracks that help him out in the garage. They're along for the ride. And as you'll see in the cover, his droid, that's actually a droid that they're riding on, V-18, who is extremely boxy. And in fact, he had to paint purple so that people would stop confusing him for a crate and loading him onto starfighters and then sending him off planet. So hopefully that'll work. But he also has been down for some adjustments, so they've been attaching different parts to him to make him fly and be really great transportation on top of being a droid. We also get to follow Lula Talisola from the IDW comics into this middle grade. Race to Crash Point Tower is the title. And we learn a lot about, this is a chance to really learn about Lula's interior character and what she's thinking about and dealing about. She gets to hang out with Vanessa Rowe, which is really cool, and see, a Jedi who's just a little bit older than her and already a Jedi Knight. And that's inspiring and exciting and brings up all kinds of questions for her. So there's lots of great fun to be had.
Claudia, how about you? What can you tell us?
I am working on something which I am not allowed to tell you anything about, except that it exists and I am working on it. So.
All right.
That's accurate.
It exists. It's real. Got this. Mike, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the thing that folks should know about all of these stories is that they really are just the tip of the iceberg with the stories we're telling of the High Republic. And in fact, all of the books that we're talking about today are really just phase one of the program.
All right. And how long does phase one last for? Can you give us a little bit more about that?
Sure, yeah. Phase one runs through 2021 into 2022. I'm not going to tell you how far it goes into 22, but I can say that there will be a steady stream of books and comics and magazines coming your way on a monthly basis, which is really exciting.
Well, that sounds so exciting. Is there perhaps just a little bit more that you can tell us today? Anything?
Sure, I can say that phase one is titled Light of the Jedi, phase two is titled Quest of the Jedi, and phase three is titled Trials of the Jedi. But that's it, I have to keep some mystery here. But when we talk about this being a multi-year initiative, that is true. We are absolutely playing a long game here, which is very exciting. That said, I do believe you have something to share, Kristen.
Was that the
You
high
indeed. As
time
you
for
know,
the-
every
for the
Thursday
Sith?
you can find me hosting This Week in Star
That what it
Wars,
was?
but starting later this month, we'll be launching a brand new bi-monthly Star Wars The High Republic YouTube show hosted by the one and only Christina Ariel. And I think we have a special message from Christina right now.
Thanks, Kristen, and hello, Star Wars fans. I'm Christina Ariel, and I am the host of the brand new series, Star Wars The High Republic Show. If you're anything like me, you've probably got a lot of questions about this exciting new era of Star Wars. And luckily for you, I'm going to be sitting down with the creative forces behind the High Republic to get those answers. Each episode, we're going to take a deep dive into the mythology, characters, and stories we know you're going to love from this exciting new series. So whether it's the evolution of characters, minutia of story, or how the High Republic will be brought to life on different platforms, nothing will be left undiscovered by me and my rotating cast of panelists and celebrity guests. And there may be an exclusive reveal here or there, so you're definitely going to want to tune in. So join me January 27th, 2021 for the premiere of the all-new Star Wars The High Republic show on StarWars.com and the Star Wars YouTube channel. I hope to see you there, and may the Force be with you. Kristen, back to you.
I'm so thrilled to welcome Christina to our crew. We also have some exciting news from EA and Motive Studios. Starting tomorrow, January 5th, Star Wars Squadrons players will be able to add a unique lightsaber hilt inspired by the High Republic era to their cockpit flare.
In addition, it'll be fun for fans to see Easter eggs and tie-ins pop up that really help to build out this era. Some of these have already been seen in books and comics, and a few months ago, ILM X Lab entered into the era of the High Republic with their VR tale, Temple of Darkness, which is part of the Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge experience. You might even see Jedi Padawan Adi Sunzi show up in the books and comics to come.
Also launching tomorrow, January 5th, is the special edition bundle of Light of the Jedi from Out of Print. This bundle features exclusive cover artwork of the book, is signed by author Charles Soule, and comes with some really cozy looking socks and a special enamel pin. And with that, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you. Thank you first and foremost to you, Kristen, for hosting, to our amazingly talented publishing partners, our amazingly talented authors. They are truly all-stars. They have poured their heart and souls into this for years. I am so excited to see the reaction. I'm so excited to have their books finally come out. I cannot thank them enough. Aside from just being amazing authors, they are just great human beings. And then last but certainly not least, thank you to the fans. Thank you for reading, for your patience, for your excitement, for your support. I know this has been a long time in coming, and I thank you for waiting. It's really an honor and a privilege to tell Star Wars stories. We don't take that lightly. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And thank you for reading, and I hope you enjoy this grand new adventure.
Thank you to the panelists and to our readers. Check back for more news and announcements on StarWars.com/The High Republic and This Week in Star Wars. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Madness, 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 madness.
All right, look, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everyone plugged in right now. Listen, if you've got questions, queries, or comments, super chat now. I know a couple super chats came in. We're going to go through any questions or queries or whatever and, you know what I'm saying, discuss them real quick, innit? But this segment is not going to be long, so I'm just saying, hey, get me. Get that thing rolling if you've got. If you don't, it's fine. All right, Raven, fam.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. That goes back to the question, was because this calls the High Republic. Is that the peakest time of the Jedi? So does that mean what we've been having for the past 60 years?
Is the High of the Sith?
Yeah.
I mean, they did a breakdown. They've done that breakdown of what they call the eras of Star Wars.
Yeah,
now.
we saw it there.
And
it was
obviously
there,
the one was like the fall of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That's where they're putting, to get me, like, that stuff in it. So I feel like that's what they're legitimately saying is, yo, this is the Sith at its all-time strength and power. Which I do have an issue and I don't have an issue with it. My issue is the timeline is in the perspective of the Jedi. So it's like, okay, this is our fall. But it's like, why are you not telling us just the stories from the Jedi can be at an all-time power right now, but why on the Outer Rim at the same time can the Sith not be running everything equally? And this is why there's the border. Do you know what I'm saying? Or even there's so many deep ways that you could do this. The High Republic can be going on, yeah. The Outer Rim can have their little pirates, these pirates, yeah. And on the unknown regions, that's where the Sith are. And these pirates aren't just messing with the Jedi. On the other side, they're messing with the Sith, bro.
And when that seal breaks, that's when the two come and
bro,
clash.
it's I just thought of that in 4 seconds.
So, but you see, I've got another question for you.
Go on.
Because obviously, this is a whole new era of Star Wars books.
Okay.
So, is this a sort of strategic way to pull in the new generation
100%.
and the new things to come through Star Wars?
100%. I feel like
because that's
I don't want to
way
get deep, but like obviously Star Wars is for everyone, isn't it? But generally, all of the Jedis, they've all been white, they've all been this, they've all been that. Get me? Now we can take it back 200 years. We can add males, females, people of color, aliens, different genders or sexualities. All of these things. For me, it's just they're using this as like not like a reboot because they're not touching the Skywalker thing, but they're like, oh, we're gonna make this new thing for everyone.
Right.
It's gonna be more inclusive, and it's gonna be this, and it's gonna be that, and you can even tell that by like the cast of writers they've brought. And bro, man doesn't fault Star Wars for that, but I feel like if you're gonna do that with the people, you can do it with the storytelling as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's mad because that episode of The Mandalorian, I think it's the second to last episode where the one with the comedian, what's his name?
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, where the Empire are on a planet and they're trying to get the transport from one place to another, and it shows them, man, blowing up the thing you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, show us those man's story where it's like, yo, these people have invaded our planet and they're stealing from us, fam. Like, I don't feel like that hurts anyone. Do you get what I'm saying?
I'm most definitely, obviously I'm quite invested in Charles Soule because, you know, one of my favorite books from him. So I'm very lean towards what he has to say in his books because, like, although, you know, when I read this Star Wars novels and graphic novels, it's like there's like, it's almost like, to me it's not a hidden message because when I read it, when I hear the audiobooks, I'm like, it's right then and there. But then it depends who's here and who's reading it, how they're conveying that message. So I actually want to see, do you still have those same spices when I hear it or when I read it? I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's my guy that I've been reading this whole time. I've been listening to this whole time. So it's obviously man's not happy what we're hearing from things, but at the same time, man's gonna have to dive into it to really have an understanding where they want to go with this.
100%. And the thing is, because of Charles, yeah, I've been reading his comic books that aren't even Star Wars, and he's been a bad man. So it's like, bro, just because this is a new thing, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna get this book, I'm gonna listen to it, whatever, and then just go from there, and then make my judgment, bro. Because it's like, I don't want to be the guy who's talking crud about it, but I ain't listen to it. I'm gonna read the thing, and if I determine like, yo, this thing's dead, fam, I'm just like, the whole High Republic thing may just never happen in my mind, bro.
I see.
Yeah, fam. But Sam, I know you got some super chats for man. Are you gonna be capable to read them out as well?
Hopefully, yeah. We got one from Black Bono.
Shout out to man like Black Bono. Appreciate you, G.
You can have the mic. See how nice I am to you. Give you the mic. See that? Yeah.
This is the first though. He says, honestly, these writers are the wrong people on this project.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna agree with that because these writers are some bad boy writers. I just like, I think what Joe you mentioned earlier on. You said, look, they just been, obviously they've picked the best, and you can clearly see, look, Charles Soule is like the head of this thing. You can tell. So they've gone ahead and picked the right people. And it was said right at the beginning that it wasn't who's trying to pitch the best. I feel like, do you know what I'm saying? I feel like when every person came to the podium and they kind of had their own presentation, I think, Mickey Mouse was sitting at the back and be like, okay, I'm listening. Okay, let's now do something with what I've been hearing from you guys.
And for me, that's the issue. Because, yeah, it's cool. You're getting your 15 best writers. You're getting your storyboard team together, yeah? But, like, have you got any innovators in the room? An innovator isn't necessarily a story writer or someone on a story team or someone who is a bad boy writer. An innovator is just someone who's like, this thing here is going to work, this here. And it's like, I'm not saying this ain't going to work because this is Star Wars and you, man, will move units regardless. Like, you, man, could put out books with nothing on the front, nothing on the back, nothing inside the pages. But it's Star Wars. Man is going to buy it. But at the same time, it's like, yo, where are we actually taking this thing, bruv? Like, how are we going to transcend for the next 30, 40 years, bruv? And that's telling stories from every direction, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let me stop, innit? But Bono, I don't really agree that they're not the right people. I believe that they're great, talented writers. But at the same time, it's like, the direction, which may not be solely on them. I believe, is wrong. Do you get me? What else you got for man, Sam?
We've got another super chat from How's Mouse.
Another? You didn't even say the first one.
Yeah, my bad. He says, from watching the High Republic live reveal, are you excited for it? Do you hope for more, or did it appeal to you?
I would say personally, it doesn't appeal to me at all. I'm not excited about it. I'm actually quite worried. Like, I'm quite concerned on just the direction they're going with this project as a whole. But because I'm so concerned, and this is why you man should know I'm concerned, because I'm gonna read it. Because there's books come out that I look at and I'm like, oh, I'm interested in this, and don't read. But then in my mind, I'm like, it's probably good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Lords of the Sith, like I saw that book and I was like, nah, this actually sounds too gangster for me not to read. But this book here, this Charles Soule one, whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called. I'm so concerned. I have to see what's in this. I want something to be in this book that gives man hope that, oh, okay, they're putting it out like this, but there's 2-3 gems in here that can grow into something mad later, fam. So that's me.
I mean, how can you not be concerned where they're over here, fighting plants? Man
said the final boss was a plant, bro.
Bro, that's unheard of. We're talking about seaweeds, and I don't know, like stuff that grows in your back garden when you don't maintain your lawn or whatever it is. It's pretty peak to me, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, you cut this plant, it grows back and forth, like not even a month later. Bruv, what are we talking about here?
I mean,
and it's a dark force.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds.
I feel like he tries to force that in, bruv.
I think like you try, like when they said that, yeah, you know what I thought of, bruv? The Spider-Man, the Venom symbiote, fam. Like, is that what the plant is? Like, some sort of symbiote to it that's dark.
That part of it was mad to me because I was like, I felt like he knew, like, he's not a dumb guy, obviously, and he's like, right, I gotta give these man something. So at the end, I'm guessing they're on the ranch, and man's like, well, we'll throw the dark side into the plants, and there'll be a mystery around one Jedi,
right?
Just in case.
Right. What did you do? What did you do to the plants for them to attack, man?
Fam.
Let's
Nah, yeah,
next one.
We've got Shadow Mur in the building. Bill Burr's philosophy dialogue in The Mandalorian about there technically not being any good guys was definitely not tapped into these books.
I mean, the way they're selling it, they are the good guys.
Which is the issue.
Which is the issue because these men are also talking about expansion and recruiting,
colonization,
and getting and sending 16-year-old Jedis,
children of war, child soldiers.
See where we're going with this?
And yeah, man.
Oh, and they also have a police department. Did you guys see that? The watchtower watches everything, controls everything, commands everything. It's mad.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Burr said it in the thing, fam, and to be honest, when you've got that level, and this is what I keep going back. I always go back to the episode 4, Obi-Wan saying, "Bruv, certain perspective," and then Bill Burr saying it in thing, "Yo, no one's good, no one's bad. He was on the ops, he blew up people, then he turned villain. Now he's working with another unit to do this, and this, bruv." Like, even if you want to paint the Jedi as the good guys, you've got to have the opposite book painting the Jedis as the bad guys. Just so everyone's cool. Just so all bases are covered. And it's not going to hurt to... I don't understand why you, man, think it's going to hurt to do that. But what they try to do is, they try to make the villains so bad. Like, they've said, oh, these pirates, whatever you think the worst thing they can do is, they'll do worse than that. And the thing is, what's their man's motive? Because the best villains have a motive and believe they're the good guys. And you're just making these villains sound like they're just mindless animals. Like, that doesn't make compelling villains. Compelling villains believe they're right and they're fighting for a good thing. I'm just saying, innit? And we've never had someone, or these lot have never showed anyone in Star Wars fight against the Jedi because the Jedi are, do you know what I'm saying, conquerors and that, fam. And I feel like that would be an interesting perspective to dive in and then let people decide on their own. But maybe that's too much sauce to give to the general public. Next question, please.
Bono is running that thing back.
Shout out to man like Bono. What's good?
Let Jon Favreau handle this. I like who you put together for the Star Wars project.
The thing is, it's mad because, bruv, Jon Favreau, he's a guy. He's a guy, but he's only one guy. Like, man can't be everywhere, fam. And when you're... The thing is, yeah, it's like... Bruv,
Look,
Pablo Hidalgo can handle the thing.
Yeah, bro. We see Pablo Hidalgo on the thing, bro. And Pablo Hidalgo, I believe, is one of those guys in the ranch that flows in between all the mediums in it. Yeah. So like, I don't necessarily believe that Favreau is the guy, because remember, these are books. Like, one of the hardest things that anyone can do is take source from books and put them into movies. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe Favreau is that guy who can digest books in a manner that he knows how to translate into movies. So in that aspect, like, just leave him there, innit, and let the people who know how to tell, stories in the books run with the thing, innit? Because that's what man falls in love and still reads the books.
And what I would say, I'll just take it back to my comment before about innovate. I feel like Jon Favreau came and innovated the thing on the other side. And these books are the story group. That's just what they need for them, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not at the ranch, so I can't tell you who's picking what and who's doing what, fam. But I just feel like they need someone, not necessarily Jon Favreau, but someone who's got a mind and sees and can see the future, bruv.
You're not at the ranch, but man should be at the ranch, innit?
That's their fault. You get
man
me?
should
But
be
to
at
be
the
honest,
ranch.
that might be our fault, innit?
Who knows?
We're working on
Perspectives.
Alright, cool. We've got 3 more, man. Like Shadowmer is back.
Shout out to man like Shadow Mo, what's good?
The writers' meeting must have been like them Jedi council meetings. All the power, but minds clouded. Qui-Gon was missing, fam.
You said it. That's
That was it, fam.
That's it. That's it.
100% true, fam. But this is the thing, bro.
What did they say? Oh, we was at the ranch, was eating cookies, drinking tea. That's what the man was doing.
And that's the thing, bro. Even times like this, times like the High Republic, when the Jedi are at all-time high, fam. For you to think that the dark side's not here, fam, is mad, bro. But maybe that's why they put it into plants, bro. I don't know.
Mad.
Our Miles has got another one.
What's good, bro?
If you was in charge of writing your own Star Wars book, what era would you say it in, or what would you create something brand new?
Oh man, I've always had this idea of going back to the beginning. And when I say beginning, there is no establishment yet. Just the
Finding the Force, bro.
Yeah, like there is no Jedi's, there is no Sith. Because I think the earliest we have is when, to my knowledge, is when the first
Force schools.
The Jedi's leave their little group and go to set planet and then that's when they become, you know, the Sith. They encounter this religion which is not called the Sith, and they kind of overtake that, and through that process, then they became the Sith. I would like to see something like no identities, no nothing. How do we get to this point? And then boom, like now, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be me. 'Cause that would be just mind blowing. It's almost like cavemen trying to figure out fire. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to make your first spears and that, like survival and
First kyber crystal.
you know what I'm saying? Understanding these things, like, you know, you know, like if I go into this game, what's these ruins? You know, what's the bee in Rebels?
Bendu.
The Bendu. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's mad to me how, like, if these men, yeah, would have said the bush, whatever is the dark thing they called it, yeah. If you said, oh, this thing is a Bendu, that's it. I'm done. You sold me you sold me. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's not the case. You're talking about a plant, bruv. The Bendu can be a plant, but because the other Bendu, he was like a rock, so it'd make sense if this was as a plant. But what are we talking about? Like, and can you call it dark? Bendu's not dark, no lie. It's neutral. But it depends on the perspective of the Bendu. Like, that Bendu didn't want to mess with nothing when Kenan came to man. Oh, you're being inflicted. You're bringing chaos to my planet. You Jedis are inflicted. You're bringing chaos to my planet. Bruv, that's it. That's why we need to be at the ranch, bruv.
I mean, for me, if I was going to tell a story, I don't feel like it would matter when it was. I would just tell, I think, the story of like just one day in the life of a Sith, innit? And it'd just be a mad day. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like something like Dread. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it starts off with like, I don't know, the master that you never see sending his Sith apprentice off to go do something. And then that day, that 24 hours is just madness. It's just a madness, bruv. You get me? Like, whether he lives or end at the end, bruv. It's just you know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter what time frame. It could be back in the day when there was a Sith army. It could be over here, just out there. Like, it doesn't matter, bruv. Get me? I would just like to tell Sith stories. Get me? Just as a whole. What you got, Sam?
Jamelia Williams.
Shout out to Jamelia. How you doing?
When I tuned in, both of you looked turned off by the presentation. I think you should give it a chance. It may surprise you. P.S. I give shows 3 episodes before I decide to continue on or not.
I hear what you're saying, Jamelia, and to be honest, like, I mean, since you've been watching, you have already heard us say that we are going to get the book, we are going to read it and give it a chance. So there's that. Like, I feel like even for us, when we don't like something, we're definitely willing to give it a chance. I'm one of these people that when I feel like a movie's going to be bad, I'm even more inclined to watch it because I feel like you can't appreciate great art without going through some bullshit. So that's there. Appreciate the comment and appreciate the super chat, Jimmy. I hope you're doing well.
That's it.
One from TB Reviews.
It's good.
Wagwan.
Thoughts on Hayden Christensen returning in Kenobi?
I mean,
makes sense.
Yeah, anyone who has an issue with that, like, stick your head in the toilet, innit? Like, it wouldn't make sense. Like, who would, like, why would you be against that?
I mean, it's stop. Like, one of the things that's you know, with everything that's great also comes, you know, a little bit of madness. Let's say, you know, when episode 1, 2, 3 came out, it didn't have the biggest reception because obviously different generations but that guy right there, bruv, that's Anakin. That's the same character that you get in Clone Wars and how can you not? It only makes sense.
Bro, I got no issue. I don't even understand people's issues with Hayden Christensen, fam. Like, I felt like he was fine in Star Wars. I think he's calm.
Man didn't do nothing wrong.
Bruv, I'll be happy to see him back, and I'll love to see him back now with the added context of everything that's happened in Clone Wars.
And you
do
know
what
what
I'm saying?
And you know what? Of the back strength of all the negativity he got, not of his own fault, to come and bad up.
Yeah,
Shut a lot of mouths, bro.
Yeah,
bad up.
Yeah,
and let people know why he's supposed to be here and why he's our Anakin, fam.
Yeah, bro. I hope, yes, that's the correct energy. Hayden, if you're watching this or you see this or someone clips it and sends it to you, brother, finesse the thing, bro. Man believes in you, fam. You get me? All of them man there was just chatting crud for no reason, fam. Like, imagine being angry at an actor for reading a script that they didn't write, fam. Shut your... Bruv, you man are jokers, bruv. You man are jokers, fam. Anyway, thanks for the question, bro.
Shadowmer's back.
What's good? Shadowmer's getting his... He's getting it in today, fam.
Bro.
The tree gave me heavy Legend of Korra vibes. The ancient tree in the spirit realm that the dark spirit Vatu was imprisoned in for 10,000 years.
I don't have knowledge of that. The only tree I really have is a tree of life. The tree of life. Poe Dameron's parents had.
Okay.
That's the only tree knowledge I have in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, if that might be good knowledge from Shadowmer, you get me? If they've trapped someone in this tree in it, but
I mean, they did speak about magic.
Fam.
And if they are gonna tap into sorcery where, you know, Mother Talzin, like, ancestors came from, I'll be calm with it.
See, the thing with all of that, what Shadowman's talking about, what you're talking about, is they ain't talking to us about that, fam. So if you're trying to get people excited, these would be the things I'd be dropping. I'd be dropping. I'll be like, oh, it's also got links to this, this, and this, and this. Even if it's not solely based around that. Do you know what they did drop links to? Yoda. Exactly. So if they did have these kind of connections, they would be saying them because they did talk about Yoda, fam. Get me? So it's yet to be determined and yet to be seen, innit?
It's mad they had to infiltrate one of them, man, from this era.
It would have to be Yoda. It would have to be.
Yeah, well, obviously he's old enough to go all the way back there, but
they had to make baby Yoda to get the general public to watch the Mandalorian,
then
fam.
to suck back in and
Yes,
see how
fam.
the seed works.
Fam, general public think that's Yoda, fam. It's mad. Talking to someone the other day, they was like, yeah, Yoda's in the shot. I said, nah, Yoda's dead. Yoda's been dead. That's just the same species. But it's called Baby Yoda. It's not actually his name, you know. It's named Grogu. Mind blown. It's mad.
Crazy.
It's mad. Is this the last one?
This is indeed the last one. One from William Wonders.
What's good, bro?
Excuse me.
You alright there?
Need some water. It's all this reading, innit? Man's not used to it.
It's a bit crazy still. Okay, don't judge me, man. But I would like to see the beginning of the roots of the Force, like 50 years from now, where people start encountering the roots of the Force.
Bro, no one's gonna judge you. That's actually a great idea, and I feel like stuff like that would be sick to go back to a time where, like, there's a kid, and he moves something with the Force, and his parents think he's a devil, and they banish him out the yard, like. But this thing is like, the same day it happens to him, it's happening to thousands of kids across I say thousands, millions of people across the universe. Like, the Force just, like, it just meant, like, whatever happened, like, some star blew up somewhere or you know what I'm saying? Some cosmic force did something, and then boom, the Force then became a thing in people and stuff and plants and all of that.
It's similar to an Umbrella Academy, innit? Like, where all the youths were born at the same time, just like that.
Yes, fam. Something like that. I would love that. I think that's a great idea, fam. It's not too far from, like, what you're talking about. Do you get what I'm saying? So it just depends on how you would see it. Like,
that depends how the Force manifests.
Get me?
Itself,
Obviously, for you, if it manifests from the day one of existence, or if it was a cosmic event, like potentially a cosmic event that sets it off, like, get me? It's all mad, but yo, appreciate you guys for being out here today, man.
Guys, thank you very much for locking in this special Sith temple on our brand new temple. It was a bit of a sudden thing, but you know, we had to after watching those 2 trailers, we had to sit down and talk about it, and obviously we wanted you guys to be part of this, innit? But yeah, man, look, before you go, if you haven't done so, make sure you head over to the Cybernet Sith Temple channel, where we're going to be dropping all our new Star Wars stuff, including the trailers to the High Republic. That's already been recorded, and there you get to see our expressions and feelings towards this. But other than that, I'm Raven your GS.
Joe One Further the Cyber Nerds.
And we'll see you guys next time. Make sure you mute the mic here, 'cause I'm not.